We are Squawking Dead, a podcast pulverizing programs beyond the Walking Dead universe. Sometimes we give you news, sometimes we make you laugh, but most times we go deep. I'm your host, David Cameo, and I'm joined by Cosmo Mom09, Rachael Sherrandy, aka Blazy Gardner, and Bridget, ko-fi.com/punkybrewster, that's PUNKYBRUISETER. And we're here to recap season 2 of From, taking into account our impressions from the last season, if it's even possible. We're not going to do any disclaimers. We're all caught up. The first episode of season 3 is next week. So we're all on the same page, which is amazing. I love being on the same page with you. That's why I get so upset. And, secretly.
It's not a secret. You brought it up so many times.
It's not a secret.
No, I joke about it, but like secretly in my secret place, I get like,
ew.
Why aren't we
in his beehole?
In a secret place.
That's not very secret.
Ooh.
I get all like, well, I wish we were all on the same page because then we can actually talk openly. I feel like you're holding something back from me. And so I feel like, are we even friends anymore? But that's the secret place, Bray. That's where the inner child, they say the inner child is there. And then
it's where an emo kid lives for sure.
Well,
I'm just picturing Dave with like the curtain cut over his eye,
No, it's more like a bowl cut. So I was like 5 years old and I had like almost a Freddy Krueger horizontal pinstripe shirt. I have like a picture in mind. There's a koala photo or painting of some kind behind me. And there's a forest also behind, like a forest background. Like it's an autumn forest. Anyway. We had a 3-hour and 20-minute recording last week on season 1, recapping it. And we ended up with an hour and a half worth of material. Where did the hour and 50 minutes go? Where did it go? Well, I wonder what's in there. Anyway, you can get those from ko-fi.com/quackendead or patreon.com/quackendead. And you can tip us to get it, or you can join a membership tier. It's well worth it because there's some chaos and a lot of yelling for some reason. I think.
I really wanted to like it more than I did. I will talk about the things that I did like. Special effects. That's the end of my list.
Oh, that was it? Okay, good. Good timing, I guess.
That was so sad.
Wait, it's not even a sound effect. I like the season. It was like... Was it writing? Or was it more on the acting side of things?
Yes.
Okay. Was it a particular character that we may all be thinking of?
Nope, not anyone in particular. Some were better than others.
I love that you don't want to say anything bad about it because I think you are still liking the show.
Okay. I'm like in this weird limbo where I don't know how to feel right now because I'm mostly upset because this season gave us nothing but more questions. And some of it is, in my opinion, ridiculous. If it all makes sense eventually, okay, awesome. Then it was spectacular. But at the end of the season, I'm just like,
There it is. That's what I was waiting for. I wanted a sound effect.
Rachel hit on my number one problem. They just piled more mysteries and no answers. And you know what?
Yep.
I'm tired. I don't have the brain space for this. Trying to figure out 950 more mysteries that they did not give us any answer to. Okay, we found out they're human. Thank you. That was absolutely useless information.
I don't need all the answers, just some.
It's doing exactly what I was afraid it was going to do, which is build up mysteries and then never answer any of them. And then you're just left feeling completely unsatisfied and unfulfilled.
You do have to admit that there is something about this show that actually makes you want to watch it.
No, you guys know I rolled right into season 2. Again, I got to the end of the season. I was like, this is what we get. I'm just not going to get invested in it in any way. I am afraid I'll get so into it and so excited about it. And then it'll just rip my heart out and be a big pile of poop on the floor. And I don't want to deal with that.
Take a page from Ted Lasso. Let it flow. Poop hair. All right. Well, we got Sherrandy and Rachel's first impressions. The cookie came before the cream.
I really liked this season. I knew Sherrandy wasn't going to like it. Based on her concerns and aggravations for the first season, I was like, ain't no way. Especially with that season ending. Because of the season ending, actually, I was a little bit worried that Rachel wasn't going to like that part. And that was going to like ruin the season for her. Like she was just going to be like, what just happened? It was exactly my first reaction when I watched this, much like the ending of the first season of Silo. I was in bed watching it, so it ended, and I sat up and was like, what? What?
I was going to make the impression, but she just relived it now.
I did.
But wait, in a good way or bad way?
And like, what is happening? What is happening?
Shocking.
It was, it shocked me.
I did have that stand up and cheer-ish moment.
And then I like couldn't stop thinking about it. Like it just it's just like in my brain then.
Right.
Endlessly.
I
You can't
agree.
stop thinking about it.
What does this mean as a result of the stand up and cheer moment?
When Tabby is in the real world all of a sudden, all I could think after that was like, Abby was right in season 1.
Yeah.
Where she has the breakdown and she's shooting everybody because she's like, if they die, they'll go back to life. They'll be in the real world.
They'll wake up.
Is that what you took out of it?
They'll wake up. That's what she was
'cause she
saying.
said
If
it
I
was a
kill them,
nightmare.
they'll wake up. This is a nightmare.
Mhm.
I don't know.
And Tabby, presumably, falls to her death is what that looks like to me,
know.
I guess.
That's what
and
it
then
looked like.
suddenly,
I'm going to take the counter positive on that
she's
one.
in the real world. At that point, you can't even go back to one, tell them that you're okay. They're all going to think you're dead. 2, to tell them that Abby was maybe right the whole time.
Well, I'm not saying she's
We don't
right
know
or
that.
wrong.
We don't know that.
Yeah, we
But
don't know that.
Maybe
But that's what you're taking out of it.
it leads you to like all of this like frustrated energy of like,
Even Martin said, what if Abby was right?
Abby and Tabby sound a lot alike. Maybe they're
Yeah, that's why I
cycle
didn't
through.
want you to call her that.
well, that's what Jim calls her.
Jim does call her that. Also, not flattering. No?
Tabby. Oh,
Calling
I don't
her a
mind
Tabby?
it. I don't mind it.
Like a
Well,
fat
no, it's
orange cat?
short.
Good God, is she
It's a
Garfield?
shortened version
Not
of Tabitha,
nearly.
you weirdo. Anyway,
Still.
well, Tabitha is supposed to represent a lot of things. A mother for Victor. There's like a lot of roles that like Tabitha is supposed to play.
Yeah, it says the same thing as her mother. Now it's time for you to be brave.
Yeah.
In my notes in big letters, I wrote, she's the Cromonocle. Because she's the one who goes on the hero's journey.
I hate you. It messes with my brain a lot. And so that's kind of what I've been stuck thinking about. And so I'm really excited for season 3 to start. I know that it's not going to give an answer to that immediately. It's just not.
what makes you think that's the
That
real
would
world?
be poor writing. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's
That's
all
a
fake.
question I had too.
I don't know. Is she
It's
dead
fake
now?
worldception.
I don't-
It's a fake world within a fake world.
Maybe it boggles the mind.
It's too much.
I like that.
They're trying to do too much. I feel like I'm walking through a hoarder's house of a television show.
I think it's an intentional choice. You feel the way that the people living it are supposed to feel. They keep reiterating the same things, especially in that last episode. It's like having 2 pieces or a couple pieces of a jigsaw puzzle, but it's not even the important pieces like corners or edges or anything. It's just like vague pieces in the middle and trying to picture the whole thing. I have a owner's manual with so many pages ripped out and I can't do it. So it's like, that's how you're supposed to feel watching it because you're then feeling like the characters in the show. And so when Sherrandy said like, I'm tired, I was like, bro,
Welcome to the party.
that's what you're supposed to feel, I think.
I think that's why I keep going back to Twin Peaks and even Outer Range. I think some people didn't like Outer Range because some of it was a little out there. And so it may not be for everybody.
Most people, like myself, turn to television to escape the horrors of reality. I want to watch a show as a viewer. I don't want to be in the show. Sure, maybe that is exactly what they're trying to do, is make me feel like all these townspeople, but I don't want to.
Let's take a step back. When you're watching The Walking Dead, and I feel like this refrain has often been said, that in some ways there's a part of you that wants to be there because of some of the things that in real life that you want to escape.
The idea of an apocalypse in general could be nice. But
There's a lot of difference between being in an open world where you can escape monsters and being in this tiny little spot where you have to stay.
Where you're basically cursed. Yeah. Surviving in an apocalypse with zombies, sure, that seems manageable. This is chaotic because they're stuck.
I think that's kind of why I'm enjoying this.
I
Actually,
think another reason I don't like it, though, is I'm going to sound like a toddler. I tend to like bright colors. One of the reasons I liked Lost right off was because it was on a tropical beach and they had the bright colors of the ocean and the sand and the trees. This show's very dark and dingy. It always has like this grayish tinge to it. And I think that's another reason subconsciously I don't really like it as much.
Actually, on the note of colors, and this is going to maybe play into what you think is the ending, Bridget, about Tabitha having to die in order to enter this new reality.
That was the
or
last
this.
thing. That was the ending.
Well,
the
that is it though. I noticed one thing, and that's when Tabitha emerges from the faraway tree, the scenery is notably more colorful. The pine trees are way greener. There's a saturation of color that it was absent for the entire season. It was all beiges and grays and washed out blues and stuff like that. She pops out of the tree, the faraway tree at the bottle tree, and right in front of the lighthouse, it is essentially all the way up the stairs. The toys look bright. Down to the boy in white she sees at the top of the stairs, who doesn't look as washed out as he normally does. He kind of looks like an actual boy, not like some sort of why is this chic ghost figure. So I'm gonna contend that it's very possible that she was already in that new reality when she was at the top of the lighthouse. Just wanted to throw that in there.
I don't think you're right, but anyway.
It doesn't matter. I think you're wrong too.
That's fine.
And this is now an ASMR video.
That's weird. That got weird real fast.
Well, pew pew, bitch.
Thought you weren't a toddler.
No, on my own terms. I'm taking it back. I'm taking them all back.
Oh my gosh.
Goonies never say die.
Oh my gosh.
Well, not everybody enjoyed the mountains upon mountains of mysteries. I did the whole season. I think we can all agree there are things that we don't like. Mariella. Anyway, that's okay. It's not going to be 100% perfect. And like I said last time, it's by no means The Walking Dead. It does not have me in the absolute chokehold that The Walking Dead had me in. But I'm excited for season 3 to start because I really want to know what happens.
Do you feel confident you're going to get answers, though?
Girlfriend,
Really?
hold on a second. You got to get closer. You're too far away.
Oh, my Lord.
She went ASMR too.
This is you right now. Do you think we're going to get answers? That's how you sounded, by the way. You could hear me, but it's just like, what are you doing?
I'm getting comfortable.
Well,
She's exploring her space.
Oh
welcome to the
gosh.
stuck place where you have to get closer to your microphone. It's Walking Dead is the stuck place. Every time we record.
I'll ask all my questions
No,
right
that's
up
my
here.
job. That's my job with my voice.
Okay.
So, Bridget,
Oh
do
my
you think
God.
we're going to
Okay,
get
Bridget,
more?
don't ask my question. You shut your dirty whore mouth. Are you confident that you're going to get the answers you want?
I don't know that I will, but that's part of the fun.
How are you going to feel if you don't get answers?
But it's not fun.
What exactly are you having fun with if we don't get answers to what the hell is going on?
So, one, there is storytelling still happening.
Yeah.
Is there?
There is.
Yeah,
There's still
tons.
storytelling happening, which I appreciate. And we've gotten to know more about the characters over the season. So, like, even though you didn't get the answers necessarily that you were looking for, you did get some answers to like questions you didn't even know that you had.
Yeah, I don't want those answers though. I want the answers to the questions that I have.
But see, this is my issue I have with society as a whole. We live in like an era of constant input and information. We've gotten to the point now where we don't even try to remember things anymore. We just Google it right away.
All right, we go like, thump, 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 thump.
You get like so
Answer
frustrated that
received.
you can't remember something that instead of like really trying to work out your brain and figure it out, we're just like click, 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 click. That really bothers me because like I don't want to be like that. I want my brain to be getting like a workout pretty regularly. This show gives my brain that workout. It's like scratching an itch. I like that my brain is like after each episode.
What I was thinking to tag on to what you were saying is what I really like about this show is that as much as all the characters on the show try to seek comfort in different pleasures or ways to cope, the show or the situation or the stuck place always finds a way to say, no, you can't turn away from this. You can't ignore this. You keep saying everything is going to be okay. Are you okay? How are you feeling? How do you think I feel? This is what I wanted to say to everybody until Reggie finally says it. It's like, oh yeah, okay, good. Because at least the show is acknowledging it. But it's that these are the rules. This is what's happening to you. Now what are you going to do? You're going to go back. It's like Fight Club. This is your pain, and it's ending 1 minute at a time, which I liked being reminded of. I like that there's a little bit of chaos, but there's also rules that again, effing Ghost Tom does the thing. He says it's natural design. The things that are most valuable are protected by nature. Your heart, your brain, the very dense skull, a rib cage. And Jade says there's nothing natural about this. And he says, you're wrong. It's familiarity. It's the familiar. There's a difference. And so effing Ghost Tom explains the show. There are rules. They're just not familiar. The physics is not all wrong. It's unfamiliar. It doesn't resemble the physics that are in what we were used to. And so we have to adapt. So far, season 2 is contextual, at least for me, has contextualized season 1 and 2 a lot better.
So do you think this is some kind of mind experiment where they're trying to figure out how people adapt?
I think Jim was 100% wrong.
And that's
Jim's
the
theory.
point.
I think any theory that they've thrown out at this point is wrong. Why would they tell us what's happening? Everything they've said so far is wrong. You know what it is? Jade was right. It's an escape room.
I don't think it's that at all.
It's Dallas all over again. One's going to wake up and they'll have been dreaming all along.
If that's the case, Tabitha got beat the crap up during her sleep. Something happened. If this is the real life and it's not a dream within a dream, within a dream, within the
Excuse me?
We gotta go back! I really don't want it to sound like I don't like the show.
Same.
Okay? Because I do. I like the show. But I'm frustrated to the point where I'm going to stop watching it because nothing is being answered. And I'm scared that they're going to do, again, what they did to me in Lost. I like the show. I like the characters. I like the premise. But worms under the skin, excuse me, how did dude that was chained to the wall throw a rope down to Boyd?
I know.
Yeah.
Was the dude a dude at all?
Maybe he was a lady.
Just stick to the mystery you already have and do something with that. Why?
And besides what they've done deliberately, the writing this season is super annoying. We should play a drinking game. Every time somebody goes, I think I found the answer of getting out of here. No, you didn't. Stop saying it.
There's also the trope that is in every show where nobody tells anybody anything.
That I actually liked a lot.
Are you afraid that people are going to think you're weird? You're living in a town where monsters kill you at night and you're kept safe by little chunks of stone with some scribble on them hanging at the door. And you think that somebody telling you they got worms under their skin or you heard some creepy poem is going to make you weird? Share your information.
You're the person in the movie theater that says, there's a wolf behind you. What are you, an idiot? Like, no.
Had this been any other show, this would have gone on for way longer than not telling anybody about the worms. It didn't really go on that long. It only went on like 2 episodes. It's weird that you don't tell people, but like you fear that you're maybe going crazy because a lot of weird stuff has happened to you. And you're like, I may be losing my mind because I could be, because I also have a chronic illness.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I could really be going crazy. And I'm a little bit worried that people are going to like lock me up. Should I tell them what's actually happening?
And it was mentioned as an explanation.
The worm part, I actually really enjoyed that. I thought that was really cool. And they killed one of the monsters with it. Best line of all time. My blood is your blood now, motherfucker.
It was so lame.
I loved it.
It was great.
It was
if you love schlocky horror, but also it was kind of cool. 100%.
Oh my gosh, so corny.
Do you know what? It's welcome to prime time, bitch. That's what it was.
Yes,
all over again.
It was so
It's Harrison
corny.
Ford saying, get off my plane.
So
I mean,
corny.
it was bad, but it was like, all right, I'll allow
There's
it.
snakes.
It's
on
actually
the
way
plane.
better. It was way better than Harrison Ford saying, get off my plane.
But now what? He's wasted the worm juice on one monster.
The worm
Well,
juice.
arguably, he didn't waste anything because actually a monster used that to free themselves into the town. So, bam, baby.
Did they? Or was this always gonna happen?
You said the monster freed themselves?
The thing that's killing people now
in their dreams.
It freed itself through
It's
that.
Freddy Krueger.
They freed Freddy Krueger into
Freddy,
the town now. Yeah.
Right, get ready for prime time, bitch.
Welcome to prime time, bitch.
Yeah, there you go. That's why it's so much more apt.
But how? Why?
Boyd admits as much, too.
Well, sure. He thinks he has all the answers.
Oh, I detest a little bit of disdain for Boyd. What?
Oh, this is the Morgan thing all over again.
He's kind of annoying.
There is a bit of a mechanic with the whole which people were chosen to be the ones locked in the dungeon with their white eyes and stuff like that. It seems like just like the blood passes from one person to the other, when people were told about the corpse, Elgin tells Julie and the rumor stops there. So Julie is the one who's chosen. Mariel wasn't there when they were doing the autopsy of the body.
Right.
But Christy told her, and that's where it stopped. Now, the only one I can't necessarily figure out, and I could maybe ask you guys, so it's not like a physical fluid to fluid transfer. There's like a more of a heady, the rumor spreads, and that's how the person was chosen.
Randall watched them load the body up into that wheelbarrow.
That's where it ended. But he wasn't there at the autopsy. He found out through, that's what happened.
He watched it.
He didn't watch the autopsy. He watched them load the body.
He watched them he saw the body.
And that's where that rumor ended too. He found out through secondhand. He made an inference.
He found out by being a weirdo creep.
Yeah. It's almost a meme if you think about it. You see him like on the side of the shed just going like this. Oh, so we're supposed to take that. Oh, he's being a weird creepo eavesdropper. Gotcha.
He's a weird dude.
Do you also look at ladies in windows, you creep? What are you doing?
It's like, I want to like him, but he's such a D-bag.
It's true.
Because it's like things that he says is like theoretically that should be endearing. He bought a really expensive drone for his nephew. Like, that's cute. Taking the bus all the way to see his nephew. That should be endearing, but like he's such a D-bag.
He's only a D-bag because he's being a D-bag to the people you've grown to, for you sympathize with them because they're stuck here and they're trying to do the right thing and whatever.
Second season. Well,
but every single thing he says and does on paper should make him a hero. He can't accept this place. You got to figure this out. All these people are crazy. Why are you being so brainwashed? He does and says the thing that a person that we would regard as a hero, he just does all of it.
Yeah, if it was like told from his perspective, I would maybe have like a different opinion about him.
If we didn't know any of these people from Adam and if it was filmed in such a way that paints him in a better light. Yeah. I mean, everything he does is not accepting what this place is. He's kind of like a foil for Boyd in some senses because everybody's looking to him for the answers. He's supposed to lead these people out of here. Well, Randall's kind of just doing it. He's just figuring it out. He's just like, you scared of me? You just tell he's taunting all the monsters in the street.
That is hilarious. Travis and I were like watching this last night. I watched like many episodes last night. And Travis,
where are you going?
And we were like laughing so hard about what the monsters say because it's just so funny. Like, so they just walk up and they're like, "Why, hello there." It's just hilarious to me for whatever reason. Hello. And he's like, "Shut up." It's like hard to take it seriously because it's just so funny.
The extra creepy one found the couple on the bus and he's like, "You picked a bad spot."
Like
they're playing hide and seek.
I'm a little sad that he was the one that died. He's like so creepy,
so creepy. Face.
Which poor bitch.
Which, by the way, if you want to see the actor interviewed,
yes,
he was interviewed by Relishing the Dead.
Oh,
I think about a
month
ago.
He was like one of their.
He did fantastic.
No, he was like one of their first
monsters.
interviews that they got.
I mentioned Harold Perrineau on.
Yeah,
that was just a couple weeks ago. They've had several actors on that we're on from.
Check out Relishing the Dead on YouTube.
Yeah.
If you're like a rando, check them out on YouTube. But if you're like an insider, check out their Facebook group.
That's where like everything happens.
That's where everything happens,
page, really.
But if you're just a fair weather person, just go to their YouTube. It's there. Mm-hmm. Give them some views and subscribe to their stuff. Regarding Randall going absolutely ape on the monsters that walk in the street, I actually connected with that on such a visceral level. Let me tell you a story. It was my second to last road test. I'm 17 now. I didn't get it when I was 16. This is my fourth road test.
Bro, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, see,
I'm judging you. Like, really,
you shouldn't because
right
the testing spot that I went to for the past 4 years, I got the same instructor 2 times, which is not allowed. Just for sake of argument, just say that that's real. Or the rumors we tell ourselves, like, "Oh, you're not supposed to get the same instructor twice." Third time, I got somebody else, but the fourth time, I borrowed my cousin's car, and it was a higher end car. And then I'm thinking maybe that's the reason, because I did everything perfectly. He was actually complimenting what I was doing at the time. I was like, God, the first time I haven't had to tell somebody about this or looking to the left before you do that. He says the thing. He's saying, well, expect to get your license and blah, 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 as we're pulling over. When I pulled over, the rubber made a squealing noise as I strafed it against the curb. I didn't go on the curb. I strafed it against the curb. And then all of a sudden he goes, like in the middle of a sentence, and he goes, "Okay, you failed." This is the supervisor, by the way. The supervisor was already upset that he had to do the road test himself, not his underlings. And so I said, "You're just saying that I passed." And he goes, "No, I can't let you pass after you touch the curb like that." I lost my mind in ways that you and the world will never see before. But if you want to get a good taste, basically Randall yelling at the monsters, only throw in, "This is America. I have rights." I started saying things that just almost didn't make sense. It made sense in my head, but contextually in the brain, but not really outside my body.
He just became Childish Gambino.
But hipster Childish Gambino, because this was...
So Childish Gambino.
20 years before I was infant Gambino in that moment. I have rights. This is America. You can't do this to me. Things like that. Plus Randall. It's just a mess of yelling at the thing that you're angry with that took the thing away from you. Here's the tag of the story, though. Side note. I take the 5th test in Starrett City with a Chevy Cavalier that is missing the turn signal. So I had to tick the nub that was left over. Not only that, I did some things that were very wrong during that road test because it was in a place that I was completely unfamiliar with. He tells me to take a turn in what I thought was a one-way street. I take the right down the middle of the street, but it was a 2-way. And she's probably thinking to herself, I'm going to give this guy the license because this guy's so poor because this car it's old by the time I took the test. It's like an 87 Chevy Cavalier.
So you got back to the DMV and then she told your mom that you probably shouldn't be driving. But she gave you the license.
No, but she should have told my uncle who took me there because it was his car. Because I cut a bus off when I was pulling over at the end of the test. I'm so good at driving at this point. I was so happy that she said she was going to give me my license. I'm like, I speed towards the end and I cut the bus off. You're going to give me my license, right? And she goes, yes. Now get me out of here. Probably shouldn't have done that, but I still got it. Yeah, I did everything wrong and then I got the license, basically.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, why did we talk about Randall and yelling at the monsters?
Because it was hilarious.
What was the context?
Because I loved it.
No, we were saying because he says all the hero-y things. He doesn't conform to the convention that this place puts him in. He even has a sweet nephew. All this to say, the opposite isn't true either. The people who accept and adapt to this place are also not great either. But Boyd straddles the line between there are rules here, there are physics here, there's unfamiliarity with this place, and yet there's familiarity enough to know how to get by, but also seeks a way out. He's in that tangible line that we can all follow, whereas there's some people who just accept things the way they are. They just want to get by. This is the new reality. And then Randall doesn't accept that reality, and yet we hate his effing guts because he makes life here impossible for everybody involved, especially Donna.
He's going to live on a bus. Mm-hmm. But I have to say, when Donna takes the axe, it's like, get out.
And he's laying on the couch.
I was so happy because you finally got to see Donna back in fighting fit status, because after all those people died at Colony House in season 1, it's like she was so timid for so long. It's like she didn't have that fire in her anymore because she was so worried that she was like leading people to death. Mm-hmm. But she just put her foot down at that moment. I really appreciated that. I was like, yes.
Because then she remembered what she was doing all this for. One tiny detail that I just want to say this, we don't even have to focus on it, but on my second watch with notes, I noticed something. Randall, note the name. I feel like he's modeled after a little bit loosely in look, but also in temperament. Shane Walsh from The Walking Dead. When Shane kind of goes unleashed, he kind of has that F-U, let me tell you something. You like that kind of mentality.
I mean, he wasn't like rubbing his head constantly, but sure.
He should have been. But also the name Randall, because isn't he the one who kills Randall?
Yes.
Yeah. So I feel like there's an homage there somewhere. Like a little mixture between the two.
A bit of a reach, but okay. Not everybody's obsessed with The Walking Dead like we are, okay? Like it's
like Corporal Kelly. What was it? No, what was the guy's name? The Boyd says Corporate Brian Kelly.
Brian Kelly.
I made the connection. That's how this place makes sense now. It's Randall Walsh. That's his full name.
What's with Old Lady season 4 Carol from the bus?
Oh, come on. Not the cancer patient.
Tilly, you mean?
Yeah, Tilly.
I visit racetracks along the world.
She looks like Carol in like season 95.
Tilly's like me in an apocalypse. She's like, all right, yeah, here we are. This is my life now.
She's just dancing in the rain.
She's the spy.
I wrote it in my notes. How does she know that Tabitha, Fatima, they sound very similar. They have the same syllables. I just
Tabby, Fabby, Abby.
But Fatima.
What?
Tabby? Abby?
She just called her Fatty.
Fabby.
Fabby? What's Fabby?
Who's Fabby?
I didn't want to call her Fatty.
Fatima.
That's mean.
Her name's
sorry, that's the rules. You said there are rules. Fatima. She's called Fatty. There's Tabby, Fatty. I'm done. Do all of us think that she's a spy, though?
Yeah, I do, really.
No.
Because the whole thing about, I know a pregnant woman when I see one, I guess it holds water, but...
No one there is a spy. Randall's wrong.
I think she's a spy.
Dancing in the rain. Come on, man.
Well, to be fair, she was diagnosed with cancer. She's just trying to enjoy the last moments of her life.
How convenient that she would just have exactly the drug that whatever her name is.
Marielle needs.
Yeah. What a thing that she just knows that Fatima's pregnant. Yeah, whatever, lady.
That was the only thing that really got me. But then along with all the other stuff.
She said something to Boyd when he came back, like, how are your travels out? And I'm like, you don't even know Boyd. How would you know anything that's going on and what he's doing? She could
just be a nosy little old lady.
Yeah. She's like,
that's
Carol,
how
nosy.
I'm going to be.
She's standing out for a
reason.
reason.
Do you think that's why she had the liquid morphine, was to tempt and to cause...
Not tempt, get her hooked.
Oh.
She went back on the drugs, but she'd been trying to get clean. She was going to rehab.
Well, she's on her way to get clean. She was a junkie.
Right. But what I'm saying is the town doesn't want her to get clean. So the town just provides her with morphine.
The two things that got me thinking about it, but I don't have an answer for, was the pregnancy thing. Then I went backwards and thought to myself, out of all the people that are absolutely like, what do we do? What's happening here? I have no idea. Tilly's out dancing in the rain, getting in people's faces in the most friendly way possible. It's the whole hiding in plain sight thing.
Yep.
She's pulling a Carol.
Exactly. That's why I called her old lady
what I wanted to be referential to.
Well, the haircut too.
Well, I do love a conspiracy theory, so I'm on board, but I didn't think that at all.
I know people in real life who can spot a pregnant person. They're like, oh, she's pregnant. I can tell from this or from that. It's a real thing.
I've done it twice.
And she knows me, and I'm really nosy. So
I don't think anyone is a spy, because Randall said it out loud. Any theories we've heard on screen, I'm not falling for. And I don't believe any of it. Also, the fact that Fatima in the real world was told she could never have children. How are they just getting into her anatomy somehow and like making it so that she can have kids now?
If they have a baby in that town, is that baby immune to the stuff that's going on in the town or something?
And what happens when they come back to the real world? Does this baby come with them, or does it only exist here in this world?
Oh,
that's something to think about, actually.
Right?
Why not?
If it's born in the town, what if it can't leave?
That's like the ultimate
That's
torture.
what I'm saying.
If this is quote unquote a dream, according to Bridget, which I don't think it is, but still.
That was a joke, Dave. I wasn't for real.
You believe that it was a dream and then you have to kill people to wake them up.
No, I was saying
right,
they're still living
Abby
it,
Brewster?
but I think that maybe you can like shoot them and then they end up in the real world. I don't understand.
Yeah, so you literally think what Abby Stevens thinks.
I don't understand the physics of it. I just thought it was cool.
I didn't say it wasn't. I just like making fun of it.
So there's a movie called Starman with Jeff Bridges and Karen Allen from the 80s. And he is an alien that comes down and he makes himself look just like her husband who has died. And she helps him get back to his ship. But they, of course, fall in, I don't know, alien love or whatever. I don't know. When I was a kid, I thought it was awesome. I went back and watched it recently and I'm like, this
doesn't hold
really
up.
Weird. But anyway, she can't have children and he like does this thing with a metal ball like over her tummy or whatever. And now he's like, now you're going to have a baby and it'll be really smart and know all the stuff I know as an alien.
Genetic memory.
There's no reason why this woman in a fantasy show couldn't suddenly be able to come pregnant.
There is context in the show for how this is even possible. And that is two very clear things, one from this season, one from last season. When Ethan is injured, the table leg impalement, he heals way faster than he should. Two, in this season, frickin' Ellis is stabbed by Dale 2 days ago. And upon hearing Fatima get over the fact that she's pregnant, aka also in this place, and wanting to get married today, because today, we don't know if there's a tomorrow, but today is for today. In the morning, he says, I don't know if I'm ever going to feel comfortable again. And then by the end of the day, I don't know if that was the day before, the same day, but let's just pretend that it was the same day. He's got a pep in his step. He's cleared by Christy that he can walk around again and is painting too. And so the context on the show is that this place can heal people incredibly fast. And so why wouldn't it be possible, at least in this weird, unfamiliar reality, for a woman to get pregnant who was told in the real world that she couldn't be? Bridget, this goes to the larger point that you enjoy about this show, which, by the way, upon seeing season 2, gives context to your comment about this show being cerebral. Didn't feel that way as much in season 1 until I watched the season, because
I know you always disagree with me.
Well, I didn't have the wherewithal to make the assessment that it was cerebral because I didn't know what I was watching. By the end of season 2, I did feel like I had a grip on what I was watching. And that's when things changed for me. My feelings towards this series dramatically changed by the end of season 2, because I did feel like I had enough satisfactory answers. This is the thing I was concerned about also, but I had enough satisfactory answers, not about the things I would want in reality, but at least satisfactory answers that in the show's own way, some things got answered, 2 pieces of the puzzle finally connected, and from that we can start building. The other thing that contextualized the way I see the show, because sometimes you don't have to, but sometimes if you really want to enjoy a thing, you want to see it from their context or from their point of view. And one of the comments I said about season 1 was, I didn't like the fact that everything that was being done, or at least from my perception, was in service of the great arc or the great mystery of this place, rather than the episode by episode trying to solve problems for today or trying to solve short-term problems. Or at least that's how you come in. You come in saying, what is this place? I have no grip on this place. I know there are rules, but I don't understand them. They don't make any sense. But as soon as you start adapting, like the characters on the show, to the reality of the situation, you can still try to find answers, but you still have to kind of obey the rules. I feel like by season 2, in season 1, I already accepted the fact that this was going to be a slow burn in terms of figuring out what was going to happen. By season 2, when things started to get answered, I kept that in the back of my mind thinking, oh, I can't wait for season 3. And that's the luxury that we have trying to catch up really quick before season 3 starts. If I was watching this week to week, I may have felt different about it. I don't know how I would feel about it because I didn't watch week to week. But maybe, Bridget, you can tell me, did you watch week to week? And because of that, you had a different feeling?
I feel like I started it right after season 2 ended. I watched it months ago, and I've watched it a couple times since then. I was rewatching this when The Ones Who Live was coming out.
Oh.
I have to say, like, I've been sitting with this for a while, and this ending to season 2, I've been sitting with this for a while. It pops in my head every once in a while, and then I can't stop thinking about it again. It's one of those kind of things. But again, it didn't grab me like The Walking Dead. We're not quite there. This is probably the first thing that's come close to it. So.
I completely get it, actually.
Yeah.
Not quite covering Silo, get it? Because you know how excited I was about that.
I was really excited to see what happened next on Silo, but once the season was over, it doesn't have a ton of rewatchability for me.
This show has tons of it.
Yes,
Which does say something about it too.
Yeah, I think so.
I think a lot of it is also you are coming to grips with this reality, and maybe you could see it a different way. I mean, that's kind of what we do on the show too, if you think about it. What we try to do on the show is, well, we try to take in all our perspectives on a thing in order to get a better understanding of it. That's kind of like you rewatching the show at a different time with a different headspace, with a different attention level too. Definitionally, when you're watching to take notes versus watching for pleasure, that sometimes changes the way you see the thing. So when it comes down to the show, if you can rewatch a thing and not be like, oh, this is coming up, who cares about that? Yeah. I didn't do that in this show. I can't wait to get the scene to really dig into it. Yeah.
I can't wait till they get the part where he gives the worms to the monster. I kept thinking about that once I saw the worms. I was like, yes, I'm so excited for this one part. I was watching this with Travis. He's sitting on the couch playing a video game on his computer. He's watching it, but it ended up like Silo, where he starts asking questions and stuff as we're going through. Now he asks a question and then goes, actually, I don't care. He does care to some
Actually,
degree.
Never mind. I don't care. Yeah.
We watched something and somebody said that from
it
Jade
had to be Jade.
That.
Yeah, for sure.
He's talking to Julie, I think. And he's and why did that happen? Then he goes, actually, never mind. I don't care. And I looked at Travis and I went, that's you.
That's you. You're Julie.
That's you. No,
he's
Jade.
Jade.
He was Jade in that moment.
And you're Julie.
Yeah.
Actually?
Ew. So one of the most horrifying things to me was that they can't sleep. I was listening to a Mr. Ballin podcast the other day, and he was talking about the curse of Vanita or something like that. It was about this family that had a family curse. The symptoms were always the same, and everybody in the family knew about it. And if you started having these symptoms, that within a year you would die. But the basic thing was eventually physically your body would not let you sleep, and they would just stay awake until they died. Because you start to go crazy, and your body starts to shut down after you go without sleep for too long. They did scientific tests and everything. And for some reason, the people in this family had an extra protein somewhere, and it caused this thing. So it was 50-50 in the family. You could get it or not get it. but they've never found anybody else in the world that has it. It's only people in this family.
This is like a real thing?
This is real. Only 50% of the family will survive. Even modern science hasn't figured out a way to stop it.
And that's what kind of gave you a greater appreciation for at least near the end half where they just couldn't sleep.
I was listening to this podcast like a couple nights ago, so I'd already watched. It was what it made me think of when I was like, oh man, they died because they couldn't go to sleep. So maybe that's something that's also pertinent here. Maybe they're not going to be able to sleep until some of them start to absolutely go crazy and kill other people and stuff like that, because that will happen. If you are kept from sleeping, you will lose your mind, literally.
Who was Reggie's sister? What was her name?
Paula? I think it was his partner, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't care. It doesn't matter.
I know why you would say that, because it was Nathan and Sarah's house.
She fell asleep and went nuts or whatever. Is that supposed to be the same thing that happened to Julie and Mary and Randall? Is this like a whole new thing? Now that the music box is smashed, can everybody go back to sleeping on a normal schedule? Are these two things even remotely related? It was all happening at the same time, and I was confused and pissed all at the same time. Because why is Paula being attacked in her dreams? And now all of it...
I think they introduced those characters in order to be like fodder for the killing people off. Same thing happens in any show where like people regularly die. The hope is you introduce them several episodes before they actually get killed. That's why they're there.
And
like literally that's their purpose.
But it was happening all at the same time as Julie, Mary, and Randall.
I think it's all related. I thought all of this had to do with the music box. Paula was like wrong place, wrong time. She was napping midday, and that's why she died. And that's how people learned that they can't sleep anymore.
Right. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but Julie, Randall, and Marielle, they get their white eyes and do the screaming thing and are under this weird curse. Is that when Paula falls asleep? Or is that before?
No, she's like way
before.
Timing is really hard to tell in this season specifically.
So there was one thing that I thought of when it came to Paula and Reggie, because the first time you see them, what happens? Sarah goes back to Nathan and Sarah's house, Sarah Myers, and tries to find the ornament at the very least, finds the jacket. And Reggie's at least trying to be nice about it. Paula, like Reggie says, is the take charge one. She is a B word, but justifiably so. Because if you're confronting a murderer, you don't want to be a B word because the murderer might kill you.
I know they wrote it, so we're supposed to feel bad for Sarah. And I do at points, but like also, dude, you killed so many people. Like, you suck. You suck.
Sarah's so annoying. I can't even feel sympathy for her.
She's annoying on a way that when people don't like pathetic people, they get that disgust mechanism. And you're like, I just can't stand watching this anymore. But I did feel it.
Listen to her scream anymore.
Oh,
yeah. When they finally brought that back, when they came back to the dungeon site, that was, but you know, at least they spared us for a whole season until that point. So I was okay with it. Anyway, when she's there and they kick her out, I started to think that maybe this place, kind of to what Sarah says about the cicadas were Nathan's nightmare, and that some of the things that we're seeing are the nightmares of the people who passed. I started thinking that what if this place manifests our thoughts? That if we have intentions towards people, those things might come to life. Like if you feel a certain way towards somebody, that it would come true in some weird roundabout way. Like the chaos theory, the butterfly flaps, and then tsunami in Japan that Jade says to Tabitha, I think it was.
So somewhere someone's thinking of creepy little children and sticking them on Tabitha?
Not necessarily that.
On Cooey.
But it could be what Tabitha said, that she thought she was being punished for Thomas by this town because she's trying to punish herself for it. But going back to Paul and Reggie, what if Sarah, despite her patheticness and wanting to make amends and feeling very sorry about everything, in that one instance where Paul was being really heavy-handedly a B word, she had this bad thought about Paula. And then it manifested like the chaos theory. A month later, the tsunami occurs and Paula gets it. So I thought maybe that was relationally, because there's no reason. She's so random. Reggie's so random. Chekhov's gun. Because the only reason why you see them is because she's in the house. And the only reason why she dies maybe is because Sarah was there and Paula was mean to her. There may be a correlation. I'm not saying that's the causation. But then again, this place is so weird and weird things happen, especially when Boyd comes back.
It'd be really great if, you know, the show could tell us one thing that's going on.
Agreed.
One thing.
Again, I'm okay. I like that this show gets me talking and thinking about this because it doesn't really matter. There's enough content for me to be satisfied.
I'm spinning out, though. You could literally go in 1,000 different directions and not stop. It's too much. There's no direction that is any less believable than another one. You could say anything. Vampire alien, sure. Why the hell not? Yep, absolutely. Makes sense to me.
I don't think that's it.
But why
maybe.
not? But why not?
But maybe, I guess.
But wait a minute. So I thought of another thing. And Boyd kind of puts a finger on this. And so does Randall. You want to play games. It's the thing they say over and over again. You want to play games? You want to play games? I'll show you a game.
And they do. Even the monsters use that phrase.
I like this game.
I like this game.
So I totally love that part.
So
Where he
good.
slits his throat and does the thing with the worms. He goes, my blood is your blood, mother. Love that. And then he goes, I like this game. And then he does that jerking motion like the robot is malfunctioning. And then he collapses to the floor and screams. The monsters are playing hide and go seek, or like a game of tag where the talismans are the safe post that you hold on to. File that away as a children's game, and it's terrifying. When Jade and Tabitha are looking at the drawings, and Jade goes, this Confederate soldiers that I saw. And Tabitha waves it away and says, no, that's just a story that Victor's mom told him, something about Confederate soldiers, nothing to do with reality, which got me down this thinking path of, okay, what if people's intentions or dreams or thoughts are manifesting in some way? And so why should Jade see something that he probably never even thought about had it not been for Victor thinking about it? So you're getting answers. You just have to do a little thinking to kind of put the pieces together.
That's not an answer. That's a theory.
Well, see, but you even said yourself, would you rather a show go, do you get it? Did you get it? We're hammering it home. Did you get it? Or would you rather a show kind of make you think a little bit? Maybe you're right, by the way. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying maybe it is too much and maybe it's not for everybody. But I kind of dig trying to figure this out from an audience perspective. I can't blame the people for not making the connections, by the way, on the show. But I feel like we got more answers this season, though.
Oh, I feel like you got more questions.
No, we still got more questions. But I feel like, first of all, the show gave us some resolutions before throwing a whole completely new problem. Right? Oh, you can kill them, but you have to have worms to kill the they. Playing tag with you and hide and go seek at night.
Can I just say how very let down I was in the beginning of season 2 when Tabitha and Victor are down and they're like, they sleep down here. You got to be quiet. Literally, it's just like monsters in their dirty, dingy clothes sleeping in the dirt. That was so disappointing. I'm like, no, what? This is it? Really?
Hi, guys. If we know where they're sleeping during the day, why are we not setting fire to these caverns?
Who knows? First of all, it's wet, so it's not easy to keep a fire lit. That's one thing. 2, can they be killed? They're clearly somewhat mummified.
We've seen that they can be killed.
But you need to contract the worms from the dungeon place.
You got to have worm juice.
Eventually, nothing ended up happening. But when you've got dead monster laying on the table and you're like poking and prodding around in its insides, cut its head off before you do that. The whole time I was like, it's going to jump up and bite somebody, put something around its face or something so that it couldn't attack them, even though they thought it was dead. They don't know.
I was so stressed that whole time.
It feels so weird that you said cut its head off when all I was thinking at the time, why not restrain it at the very least?
Strap it down or something. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's all I was saying. Cut its head off. What? It's very extreme. But then again, to anything that we say about this anyway, who's to say that even with its head off, it still can't kill you? Who's to say that if you restrain it, it has super strength? Clearly, it has enough strength to punch through steel, like the box. Or actually, they did the wood, but still, they could probably pry open steel.
If you cut its head off, it's not going to do any of that.
How do you know?
Just
the body might
the
still
body
be able to
just
move,
be
but
going around.
Yeah, the body will keep going. The head might keep going. Chomp, 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 chomp. It's the hands that tear off the flesh.
Then do like the Black Knight and take off its arms and its legs. We'll call it a draw.
Tis a flesh
Yeah, but you've seen the
wound.
Addams Family. Cousin, its hand moves on the table, and then
No, that was idle
It's not
hands.
Cousin It. That was Thing.
thank you. Sorry,
Cousin It is a hair blob.
is the hairy one. Yeah, I get it. It's fine. I made a mistake. We all make mistakes. Oh, this is not squawking Addams Family.
Should be.
I like the storytelling. I like the interactions between the characters. I like the characters. I like the way they interact. I'm just frustrated with the unending line of mysteries that don't get any answers. That is literally what I'm upset about. I like most other stuff about it. So I like the show on its face. I'm just not getting involved because I don't trust it to deliver what it's saying it's going to deliver.
See, I think after this season, I feel like, you know what? It's doing the thing where you feel like by the end of the thing that you're going to solve the mystery. But I think it's taking a concerted effort to either divert you away from that line of thinking, knowing that you're going to try to figure this whole thing out, and telling you, like it's telling the characters, this place is unfamiliar. This place isn't what you think it is. Maybe the test is you. Maybe to Jim's point, maybe this is testing your resolve. It's seeing what you'll do in a stressful situation. Maybe the whole point isn't to leave. Maybe it's to stay. Maybe this whole thing is about reaching stages, too, is what I was thinking about the ending. Because I thought Tabitha was out in the real world until you said she may not even be out of the dream world where the stuck place. She may be in an elevated stuck place that makes you think you're back, but you're not really. Anyway, it also made me think about the reality in which they're coming from, too. Because I'm starting to think that the world that they left behind is also a stuck place, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Because who says the world that they left was our reality? We assume that. We walk in assuming that they're a normal family going on a trip. And
No, I don't mean that, Dave. I was agreeing with you because I thought they are stuck. They've all made decisions that maybe weren't the best decision or had things happen in their lives that weren't great. And so I thought you meant like emotional stuck.
Yeah, but see, I'm leaning a little bit further into the narrative because...
You're saying literally.
Literally like the place that they were before they entered this place.
You know what? Why the hell not?
Just like the whole broken glass thing
Agreed.
with Jade trying to make the symbol with the broken glass. All of you guys saying different things gets me to thinking that, wait, what makes this place the weird place? Just because it's different than our world. But what if their world resembles our world? But what if it isn't?
Well, it's weird because the lamps don't have wires in the cords and cell phones don't work and hair dryers don't work. It's weird because it's like old-fashioned-y.
But we really don't see their world. They say things that resemble what we would normally associate with our world. It does make me wonder if these are stories that we tell ourselves.
Even if that's true, Dave, it doesn't mean anything.
But seeing the end makes me think that maybe there's something more to this stuck place, but maybe there's something more to this universe, too.
I don't know.
It goes to what Christy was saying.
I don't want this.
No. I'm not. No, I'm out of that. I was wrong about that.
No,
there's just no. There's
clearly
no way.
dealing with a multiverse. I mean, there's
one. I'm
world
not saying that at all.
Where everyone, but that's what they're showing us. There's a world where
I don't know
where all these characters are, and now Tabitha has woken up in a completely different world where hospitals exist.
Well, yeah. At least a different world, if not back to normal world. We don't know. We haven't seen anything more than that hospital room. Nightfall hasn't occurred, so they don't know that they have to hang a talisman in the hospital bedroom or something like that. What if they're in
a video game? She just moved up to the next level.
Sounds
I don't
good.
reject that completely.
Yep.
I don't reject the simulation theory. They're in a different video game, sure. On a different cartridge.
See, this is getting to like the what if the moon has pants? Like
Cerebral?
I just can't.
It's
too many like what ifs for the sake of just having what ifs. Like there's no point. I'm just saying like our theorizing is going too far out of
the bounds.
It's like why?
Like Tabitha did.
The show has not given us any parameters to work with.
That's fair. I'm just saying like there's no point in theorizing that much because whatever's going to happen, it will unfold for you.
Will it though? That's what I'm scared of. I don't feel like it will.
Me throwing out a theory, that's the show. Because you saying things makes me think things, and then I spit out something, and then I play with what you're saying. You don't want to be the guy at the improv club going, and then something completely random happens that doesn't relate to the thing I was trying to build.
You just described the show.
Not our show, but from.
Yeah.
So when the monster died.
Good use of the example, by the way.
I agree with it.
Did anybody else notice that all of the other monsters walked away and they weren't smiling?
I did.
I did not notice.
Weird that they didn't go after Boyd.
Almost like they were mourning.
That was what was weird, too.
Well, it's almost like they were in awe of what was happening.
Like that's never happened before.
Or he was the leader and they just took out the leader. Were there any more deaths from monsters after this?
No.
Well, that's because it went to the worm deaths. So they beat the first boss and now they get to move on to the next level.
Yeah, but they still came out at night and still proceeded after their prey. I just think they're acting differently than expected because of that event.
Part of it is there's a new bigger boss in town now. And so that becomes the threat. And so then the other threats don't seem as bad in comparison.
Even Martin said that the monsters were the tip of the iceberg or
Yes.
tip of the spear.
Tip of the spear. Yeah, because I thought that was such a weird expression for him to use.
Mm-hmm.
Not really for a Marine. Tip of the spear when you're fighting a big campaign. Oh, the infantry's the tip of the spear. You should wait till you see the turret guns.
Well, that was the thing. It just showed how dated that use of language was. Was Martin actually the monster?
Did Martin remind anyone else of
me?
the guy in the dungeon in Aladdin?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he did.
A little homage to Aladdin.
He did.
Yeah.
The Cave of Wonders.
Yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
with the teeth. But
When
it's really
he's like,
Jafar at the end of the day.
I just want to die. And I was like, same, bro. Like, that's all I could think. I was like, same.
I am Martin.
By the way, I was so thankful to watch this show with headphones after watching it on a TV because I could not understand Martin just listening to my speakers. It was like,
yeah.
That's why I have subtitles on always.
well, that's when I watch with subtitles when I'm taking notes because I need to hear this. And I was like, while I was watching, I was trying to
I need
rewind.
to hear
I said,
it with my eyes.
I'll just listen with more detail later. I'll try to enjoy this show. Oh, a Cave of Wonders.
I kept doing the my blood is your blood now. Something
Which
about
that's
it just
the only
tickled
thing
me.
I understood that he said.
Just tickled me.
After we saw Julie, Randall, Mary in that same cave in the same position Martin was in, should we assume that Martin was someplace else with white foggy eyes?
Just laying in the woods waiting to die.
Martin's dead.
But real Martin
His body.
was his body
No.
someplace else with white foggy eyes.
So I thought about this too. If Boyd is the Martin placeholder, this is what Reggie eventually does at the end. He figures out ever since you came back from the forest, you're the cause of all the problems and tries to shoot him down. What I assume what happened with Martin, because Martin, just like Boyd, is seeing visions, which I'm gonna say is possibly why he's able to see Abby, knows about Abby this whole time. He's seeing the things that are happening.
Is it Abby though?
It's not. It's what
It's the thing.
overall they in the town from the from, they want him to see because that's they are threatened, which is why they threw Abby near the end with Boyd. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is when you see Martin, you see other skeletons chained up as well in the room. They're all burnt out skeletons, right? You think that initially that they're just like him. No, they were their wide-eyed people chained up and dead. And what Martin is the placeholder for Boyd. Whoever it was, maybe it was Martin himself chained himself up, or it could be the rest of the townsfolk got wise because they're like, this guy's got worms, and the only way to save ourselves is to lock him away so that his worms don't affect us. And so that's what I think it was. The worms keep you alive longer.
He's
whatever
got tapeworm.
he said.
Lock him up.
And whatever it is. I think they got wise and chained him
Is
up.
it like Fry's worm in Futurama that makes him smart?
No.
Yes.
Well, maybe. Actually. You get to know things that you shouldn't know.
All right, I need to hear your opinions about the flippin' ballerina. What the hell?
Why did the ballerina bother you so
It
much?
really bothered you.
What is the point?
Were you not frightened?
No.
I was terrified.
No. He started dancing with her. I'm like, what
The
is
scenes
happening?
when she's dancing in the middle of the church is not scary. It's just awkward. You can hear
None of it
her
was
feet
scary.
on the ground. And that part
I
is
think
weird
all
too.
of that
Yeah.
to me was terrifying.
Weird.
None of it was scary. And then she comes out of the bunker and Kenny's like, what's going on, Boyd? He's just standing there while Boyd is losing his mind and seeing things. And
yeah.
I don't understand the point.
The worms and all of that, it comes from this music box. That whole experience is tied together. So the
Made
worms,
manifest.
the music box, all of that. So it's giving him these visions of the ballerina. I think she's just supposed to be representative of the music box.
Or the poem is a hint about how to end the suffering of Mary and Julie and
Correct.
Randall, right? So
Yes.
the ballerina could have been a clue. The boy in white, who is obviously the good representation of good, maybe someone who was a representation of good was showing him the ballerina to give him a hint about what he needed to do to stop the melody to set them free.
Fair enough, actually. And maybe just like anything, because the boy pushes Tabitha out of the lighthouse at the end. So he has to do something bad in order to do something good. Like everything in this plays.
And even apologizes. This is the only way or something.
This is the only way. Exactly.
Ankui.
There is a phrase, I believe it was in Roman, that is spelled Hanc space Hui. But when you say it, Ankui, that's what it sounds like. It was
Latin.
It means this one.
Interesting. Everyone's assumption is that it's not spelled correctly. It's spelled phonetically almost.
Okay.
In the subtitles.
Because one of the only other languages on the show is Cantonese, I kind of went in that direction. And so,
that makes sense.
Very difficult, first of all. Because again, most of the things they see is tethered in some way to these characters. So I used the Cantonese Ankui and just kept going back and forth. There is a town in China. I can't remember exactly where. I didn't write all the details, but Angxi means peaceful creek, a cave with water, whatever. Okay. But let me continue on to the actual literal translation. In Chinese, Ankui means several things depending on context. Get ready. An basically means more. Ang. More will, more drawing, more collapse, more bribe, more pine, okay. More popular, more execution, meaning do more stupid, more fat, more grumbling, more cooing, to coo, more drumming, or just more. I want more. So I thought some of those kind of fit.
It's interesting to go Cantonese. That was an interesting thread to follow.
The more will was the first translation of the first pairing of Ang and then Kui. But the more drawing I thought was also kind of cool because of Victor. And then it kind of fell off the rails. But I like the whole Ankui could also mean more, just more, but like twice. More. We want to play more.
So there were a couple different theories. What Sherrandy mentioned, there was a Reddit post about it. And it went really far down. And a lot of people mentioned a lot of different things. But one of the other theories was that it had to do with Celtic mythology, which Screen Rant actually wrote an article about. The article is called From Season 2 Final Recap and Ending Explained What Happened to Tabitha. It's written by Sean S. Lelos, Jordan Williams, and Colin McCormick. It's been theorized that Ankui is partially inspired by Anku, a figure from Celtic mythology who personifies death and sends the spirits of the dead to hell. Ankui could be the name of a spirit or force that is overseeing Frum's town. Celtic mythology stuff. There's nothing that was solid enough that made me think like that's for sure what it is. Are you choosing Kenny or are you choosing the drug addict? Sorry, I made my feelings
Kenny every single time.
Very obvious just then.
Yeah.
They're both annoying in their own right.
Are you saying that Kenny was annoying this season?
Neither
is that
of
what
them
you're saying,
are
Bridget?
dead, so they're not her type.
That's right. They're both still alive. So
so you're into the monster.
Yeah. So the monster on the slab in the basement, that's my man.
Into that. Saw his insides and I liked what I saw.
Full of those cicadas.
Give me that bile, baby.
Okay. Do you like Tom now because he died?
I always liked Tom, so I knew he was a goner.
You weren't as like on the Tom bandwagon as I was last episode. Like you were like, he's okay. But I was
because she couldn't be on the Tom bandwagon season 1, you idiot.
I was trying to be really, really careful with what I was saying.
I only realized afterwards why you loved him so much. And I was like, this is so annoying. Next time, don't watch ahead. I mean, Bridget, you couldn't help yourself.
He's all right.
I love it. I
love Tom. I do love Tom.
Also, I warmed up to Tom. I actually didn't really dislike Tom. Actually, I really liked Tom.
I was actually really upset when Jim goes to visit Randall on the bus. And Randall's just being a D-bag because that's who he is, just down at his core. And he's like, oh, yeah, when me and those two other guys helped you try to get your wife who wasn't even there. So if you think about it, you basically just got those two guys killed for no reason.
Like I said, you're welcome.
And Jim was
I didn't say anything otherwise.
Jim was like, did that feel good?
Did that feel good? Yeah.
Honestly, he's not wrong.
Right.
You did get Tom killed. I don't even care about Brick, but you did get Tom killed, you monster.
I did think that line was funny, though.
We can't hear you so well.
Well, it looks like you're telling her to comb her mustache, so
I gotta comb my mustache.
Brush up,
Which you guys didn't even notice in the first episode.
Toothpaste with a brand new flavor. Sorry.
I don't even know what you're referencing.
Grease.
Actually, never mind.
Wow.
I don't care.
he only knows the stuff from Grease too.
I'm Jade, guys.
The
I
worst
picked
Grease.
Jade.
You are not Jade. Well, I don't know.
You're
You
not
might
Jade.
be.
You're Dale.
I'm proud.
I'm just
Actually,
kidding.
you know what?
I'm just
No,
kidding.
Jim.
Best case scenario, everybody's a
Yeah,
Jim.
dude, you're
Worst-
Jim.
You're
Yeah,
Jim.
you're Jim.
That is very nice of you to say because he's a very attractive man with very, very, very good
Look,
intent.
you don't look like a great value version of Paul Rudd, so just calm
Right.
down. It's more that you're like constantly like, my brain, I have to solve this with my brain, my big brain.
Rachel, you would be Fatima because you're always trying to make people feel welcome
Aw.
and loving and making people
That's
feel
so
better.
cute.
That's so sweet.
You'd be Fabby.
No, it's okay. I'll be fatty.
If I could look like her, you could call me fatty too.
It's like Little
The
John.
babe
It's the
is
opposite, right?
gorgeous.
Robin
She's
Hood.
gorgeous.
Mhm. Here's something I like about the show: the costume department.
Costumes
On
are
point.
great.
That's what I was
Costumes
saying.
are killing it.
Are great.
They are killing the costume game.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh my gosh, Jade's cat T-shirt.
I love it.
I love it so much.
Everything has like a fair amount of distressing. It's really well done.
You saying that actually made me think of Elgin's shirt. We said something about Julie's illusion shirt in the first two episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Elgin's crow shirt.
Like the crow.
No, it's a crow in the middle
Oh.
of his chest, and you don't notice it until you finally see it. And who is the crow? Is the conductor of souls. And Elgin is the one who has the answer, basically, near the end.
But he couldn't remember it.
I thought he had been there before and gotten out. When he woke up and he was like, no. I'm like, do you recognize this place?
So it was
Or-
like Shane.
I thought he had
Shane
been
said,
there.
no.
I really, really, really like Elgin.
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
too.
Maybe he has been there
Oh,
before.
maybe.
Well, he did say he was dreaming about the Lake of Tears and all that, because even he didn't he call it that?
The Brundles?
He did see the body of water.
Right,
That's
right.
what he
That's what I
referred to. He
mean.
said, oh, is there a
because he
body of
asked,
water?
like, do you have a pond or anything?
Right,
And
okay,
he
With
said
okay,
the
okay.
Brundles.
Okay.
Something about the Brundles is really off-putting to me.
It's very dark water and it's very enclosed. Like the trees are very close in.
Something about it is really like upsetting to me.
The water looks very dark and like there's leaves and stuff floating on it that make it look really dirty. Victor said the trees are moving, so it feels like it's very enclosed. Even though there's water and it's pretty, it's just very scary
I'm
feeling.
worried there's like foreshadowing to the Brundles for something.
Yeah, why is it even called
And
the
what a
Brundles?
weird name.
Yeah.
Man, I thought that too.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's not a weird name because it's actually intentional. Because what is a Brundle? A Brundle is two things mashed together to make a new thing. And what is the whole thing of this season?
Really?
That's a
Yeah.
bundle.
No, Brundle. A Brundle is when you mash two things together, usually unrelated, two or more things, to make a new thing. Usually it doesn't work out. But
Like peanut butter and jelly?
no, those things match wonderfully.
But before they went together wonderfully, someone had to decide to put those two weird things together.
Which again goes to my greater point. In this town, you have a bunch of different forces that if they don't mash together, they can't make the new thing. They can't escape. If they don't share information, these two wildly different personality types of all sorts, Jade and Jim. Okay, odd that they have the J name, but they are wildly different people that think completely differently. They can't get out otherwise.
Brundle, by definition, in the English dictionary, is something excellent or impressive.
Oh, so
Oh, so
Okay.
you
Here's
were
why you're
wrong.
wrong, David.
In your face, it was bundle, and you didn't even know it. Neither did I.
It
I
wasn't
just said
still
it.
Bundle. What?
What you're thinking
was
of
not
is a
still
bundle.
Bundle. Are you stuck? Are you in the stuck place? What is happening to you? Maybe you shouldn't be driving the show either. You should take your podcast license. Sorry, I laughed before I said the joke. No. Do you remember the Barons from It? And not from the
Yes.
book, but from the made-for-TV series
Oh,
way
God.
back in the late 80s?
This is battery acid. It's dead on impression of Seth Green in that movie. Just so you know. So good. You thought it was him?
I did. I thought you played a clip from the internet. You broke David.
Do you remember watching this as a kid, by the way?
Yes. It's why I'm still afraid of clowns.
It wasn't the clowns that terrified me.
Same.
But the Barrens itself, it was creepy enough. But then when you saw the weird corpse in the middle of it in the distance and you sort of see a little bit up close, it made it that much more creepy. So when I saw the Brundles for the first time, it made me think of the Barrens from that made-for-TV series. There was something unsettling about it. It's like they were playing in something that wasn't meant to be played in.
Feeling.
Exactly. Yeah, but like a smaller version of it. Yeah, they could play in the Barrens. You probably shouldn't. It's probably dark water. It's probably dead things in there, Mikey. Dead things.
Probably battery acid.
This is battery. I just picture him with his little
Is
inhaler.
his asthma medication? Or his not really asthma medication. It was a placebo.
It's his mom was crazy or whatever.
See how that turned around?
The name of the main character in The Fly was Brundle, and it was all about teleportation and stuff like that. So maybe they're teleporting stuff there or something. Maybe it's an in-between world where you're teleported and you get stuck.
Tabitha's
Had
doing
you
a fair
said that
amount of
first, I would have cared. But but now you've exhausted me, so I don't care anymore.
Much like the show
That's
has
how she
exhausted
feels
me.
about the show.
Exactly.
Also, you know what? I'm joking because I have energy for all of this. But you know what? I have sympathy also for all of you.
I like the motif that Fatima has. All of her shirts are like lacy and...
Oh, yeah, frilly.
Except for her yellow sweater, which I was totally down with. I wanted that sweater as well.
I want that sweater so bad. I will take it off Dead Girl's body.
The big yellow sweater?
Yeah, now it's like yellow and red.
I'll still
I was
wear
trying
it.
to place... Do you remember the scary banshee-ish woman that was pushing Elgin down in the tub?
Yes, because she goes,
That was the weirdest noise.
It's not scary at all. The first time I watched it, it was scary. When I watched it this time, I just
the first time you watch is the most
laughing.
important.
I just started laughing because I was like, they paid someone to do that though. To be like, whoa.
And they were like, make a scary sound.
And that was
that's
what she made.
chose. And that was what she chose.
Yeah. But there's a reason why I brought this up because you mentioned the clothing, then you mentioned Fatima. And I was thinking to myself, I was trying to place, where does Elgin maybe get this vision of a person from? And then I thought like, wait, but why not Fatima in his mind? Because she has the same hair. Well, I know. I'm just thinking like,
She's
does
just like an
maybe
old
Fatima
corpse?
Well, she's just a weird corpsey looking person. But what if in some way Elgin is terrified of Fatima?
So who's
Why?
mad at Elgin and
I don't
projecting
know,
these things
But
into
she's
his
wearing
brain?
the silk robe thing. It's like a kimono sort of situation. And the hair is somewhat similar. Just the face and the body are just kind of different. You saying that kind of
And
made
when
me think of
Fatima
that.
talks, she always goes,
Elvis, I'm pregnant.
Wait, I got it. Because that's the sex that he hears at night between Fatima and
through
there
the
we go. We
door.
solved it.
Yeah. Okay.
It frightens him. The
Sex
concept,
noises.
which is not strange. It's not strange.
To be fair, when they panned that, and I forgot to mention this last episode, but when they pan in the first season, there's just is that old lady just...
Yeah. Yeah. I loved it. But I also hated it. I turned into a conservative. And the Matthews are sleeping right there.
Why?
They're telling you what this place is. It's
Then
a den
I made
of
the
sin.
sound.
Yeah, I did make that sound. So it's the ghost of all the sin that's going on in this place. And what is the spirit of this place? Fatima, both good and bad. Sex noises and also her positive attitude, which she lost for a little while.
Sometimes you make me a mouth breather because like I can't quite process what you're saying.
I think it was both a nose and mouth breather.
And then I breathe
this
through my
one.
mouth and I don't like it.
I think it's both because you have that snort a little too. It's like it's like the palate is making an.
Excuse me. I do
Anywho.
not have a deviated septum.
He deviates your septum.
That's weird. That's weird.
Don't think about that one too much. You might get whiplash, like Bridget. Why did Kenny piss you off this season?
There was really only one thing that kind of annoyed me. For the most part, I have sympathy for the poor guy because obviously him and Christy have a thing, and then Marielle shows back up and he's just like, I just want you to be happy, which is endearing. You're so sweet. He could throw a bigger fit about it. And he's not. He's like being the bigger person, which I love.
And then he ends up letting it loose. And then it was just enough for Chrissy to go, really, bunny?
But he's like hanging around like the outer edges, like, hey, girl, this don't work out. You know,
we're already living in a pretty freaky world. Why don't you just go for a threesome and get it over with?
I think,
that
honestly,
thought did occur to me.
Kenny's kind of on the outer edge because, I mean, if you think about it, they spent a lot of time together. They were friends. And like friendship is such a critical thing in a world and life like that. And so he's probably like, period. I can't talk to you anymore. I want to respect your boundaries because you have like all of this stuff going on. But like also at the same time, I miss my friend. And you know what? Yeah. He had every right to say what he did to Chrissy. And the fact that she gave him so much grief really pissed me off.
I agree. The only time I got annoyed with him was during the autopsy, I'll call it. And he's like, we shouldn't be doing this. We can't do this. We don't know. Like that whole
Why? I was protest. Just as freaked out that, that it moved.
He wasn't wrong.
I didn't expect it.
If you have the thing, you should experiment.
Well, yeah, but like
you should
Sherrandy
find out. You should get some answers.
Cut its head off.
Yes, there's a better way to go about it. But he was like, no, we can't do this at all. And it's like, dude, we need some answers.
But we still didn't get any. So Kenny, maybe you were right in the first place.
Yeah.
Is Kenny the spy?
Well, and then Donna says the thing also. He says, burn the body. Just get it over with. All right, you're done with this thing. No, but also you have to realize that he's lost his dad in a horrific way. And Boyd is his replacement father. And then he feels like he's losing him too. I can't stand to lose any more father figures, first of all.
Yeah.
Second of all, the woman I love is right there too. You have to think about who's in the scene with him.
Plus, he finds out that his dad was actually murdered, which he didn't even know. He assumed his dad opened the door, and he just thought it was like, this sucks. This condition took his life, and what a sad thing that is. Even though we knew it was probably going to happen eventually, to then find out that no, Sarah, a girl who your mother treated as her daughter, she might as well have been your sibling, killed him.
I feel like a very small portion of him should have felt a little bit of relief, though, because he was probably blaming his dad for what happened, knowing his dad wasn't responsible.
Well, he says that.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of relief, but like it also,
a little
it's
bit.
Still, I don't know, it makes it worse
but
in
now
other
she's
ways.
Walking around. I really enjoyed watching Kenny step up. He pulls a gun on Boyd and is like, sit down, we're bleeding you. That was like, get it.
We're transfusing you.
Yeah.
I loved that he was like, give it to me. Give it to me and we'll figure it out later. And notice his clothes fit him now.
He changed out of the cop uniform into regular clothes.
It's the visual representation of he's no longer a child toddling after Boyd. Now he's his own man.
Yeah, and taking charge of his own life. So, and all the things that you mentioned about being hesitant, all the things I said are perfectly valid. Not wanting to get the two most important people in his life other than his mother killed. But there's also an element of authenticity to that. There's also an authenticity to him not wanting to even be there in the first place. Don't we all want to run away from things that we know the people we love are walking to? It's the same thing as an addict. What you don't want to do with an addict is enable their behavior. So sometimes you have to cut them off. There are situations where their toxicity reaches a fever pitch to the point where it reaches into your life and affects you in ways that is damaging both financially, mentally, emotionally, the people in your family. And so sometimes you have to just cut off. They've gone to the point where they can't be reached. Boyd and Chrissy outvoted him. And there's a part of him that's like, I can't sit there and watch you two people get killed. And I agree with the instinct. I don't agree with the prescription. It's authentic that he comes around and it's authentic that he goes away too. This show is very well written. You just have to tether yourself to the people and not focus obsessively about the mystery. If you focus too much on the podcast brain where we're trying to figure things out, that's hard for us because we want answers. What tethers me to this show are the people and their response to this place, their ability to not adapt and also to adapt and then move beyond their, what I think this place perceives as their expectations. That's what I'm paying attention to.
Well, that's kind of where I am too, Dave, is I like the characters and I enjoy watching the characters. I'm giving up on the mystery
and
parts.
The authenticity in their, I love that they're struggling. I love that they don't have all the answers. They think this will be it. This will be the one that gets us out of here. I do actually like that. There's a part of us that wants to feel like, just like the conspiracy theories, that wants to have the easies. Oh, that explains everything. It's just an experiment like in World War II, right? Right, Randall? Oh, Randall, you took it to a place that I couldn't see coming. But that's authentic. That one friend that takes your idea and runs with it, but to a place that you can't follow. That's dark. That happens in real life. You're like, I thought that's what you meant. Like, no, I didn't mean for you to do all of this. I said I like jelly beans. I didn't want 3 cases of them. That's a real life story for another time. An ex-girlfriend. Big gesture. That's how we broke up. Anyway, so.
Sounds like me, though. I would do something like that.
Well, it's a good thing we're alike. I'm not like that anymore. I don't believe in any gestures. I went the other way. Authentic. And so that's what really tethered me to this story, is stopping to obsess over the the unfound question and focusing more on the characters and their response to the mystery. And narrative in the show points you in that direction too. The people that cope too hard, like Jim and Randall, they fail, and they fail badly in ways that other people on the show don't quite fail. The people in the show that lean into this world fail up. They still suffer, but they get answers. The people that cope, like Jim and Randall were doing, they fail down. Jim is no closer to any answers. And not only that, has put the lives of other people in danger. Randall's just, and see, I'm most interested in watching Randall Walsh, what he does next, because he's gone through something that is unique to just 3 people. And when he wakes up out of that bed, something in his facial acting, kudos to the actor, whom I don't know his name.
He is a fantastic actor.
There was something sympathetic about that. Everybody else wakes up. Mariel wakes up and goes,
surrounded
what
by
happened?
Someone. Yeah.
Yeah. Julie wakes up to family. Randall wakes up alone. And he wakes up silently. There's a sadness about it. The room is dark. Where is he? Don't even remember. Doesn't matter.
He's in Colony House somewhere.
Donna Dale and Elgin go to pick him up.
He's like the exact opposite of Walking Dead Dale.
Oh, that Dale?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's by a overturned RV. He's like literally that.
There you go.
He's Bizarro Dale.
Bizarro Dale.
Me, Elad. Dale backwards. He does kind of grunt.
Not Elad. Oh my God. Dead.
I didn't think you would laugh that hard.
It was good. It was a good joke.
Dale backwards is laid. Pronunciation wise. Dale laid.
If you said it backwards, yeah. I don't know why they're into everything. Christy becomes the Tom of the show near the end when she's talking to Ellis about pregnancy. What is pregnancy? It's gross as it is. And she's talking about the world is filled with things that we think we know about, but really we don't. It contains tons and tons of mysteries. It's kind of like the magic ball of fire, the sun, that is actually 100 million miles away about, and how we take it for granted that there's a spinning ball of fire in the sky that has the requisite conditions for life on Earth. That's, if you think about it, a little crazy. So what makes this place that much different? Because it's unfamiliar, because we're not used to the rules here, which made me think this show is about adapting to changing conditions or adapting to the unfamiliar. And so that's when my mind shifted into focus about this whole show, is having the Toms and having the Chrissies and even having the Jades throw out random things to struggle to understand what's happening to you. But the point is to lean in. And if you lean in, maybe you'll like the show more and not think about the Unfound show a little bit more. Like you said, you like the character, Sherrandy. The more you leaned into those characters and their responses to the show, the easier it is to kind of take it in and not have podcasts bring about the whole thing.
I liked it, and I was going to keep watching it because we're covering it. But I'm not going to get invested.
Right. Well, I'm invested all the way, right, Bridget?
I'm invested enough for everybody.
And if you happen to be uninvested or invested, well, let us know in your comments on this YouTube video or at ratethispodcast.com/squawkingdead. 5 stars and a worm is all we need to know that you love us. But tell us what you liked. Tell us what you didn't like. Tell us your theories. Tell us what you think about the series. Just remember to tell us after every single episode. And if you happened to like what we're doing here, consider supporting us by either tipping us at kodishify.com/squawkingdead, and you'll get the unedited episode recordings, the pre-squawk insights, my copious amount of notes, not just on this episode, not just the streaming the unedited episode for this one, streaming all the unedited episodes. You get forever access to our Discord. And if you happen to want to take your support further than just the tip, consider joining a membership tier for as little as $4 a month on either Ko-fi or Patreon. You'll get more access to our Discord, access to a bunch of perks in the Ko-fi shop, as well as a sign-on bonus if you happen to sign on Patreon. If you happen to join the upper tiers, you'll get a free classic t-shirt of your choice from our merch store, the ability to join us on our Jackbox Games live streams, which we'll never play again because we keep covering too many series at once. But also, if you happen to really like what we're doing and you want to show up on these episodes alongside us with your insights via your face, mouth, and head body, consider joining either the Survivors or Great M tier. Either way, you don't have to do any of that. Just follow us on Ko-fi and Patreon. Get our recording schedules. Our recordings are free to attend, but we don't post our schedules on social media. The only place to get them is at ko-fi.com/squawkingdead or patreon.com/squawkingdead. Check us out there. See what perks we have to offer. And consider supporting this podcast today. Maybe you can help us improve it. I imagine that will be the case. Join us next week as we discover Season 3 of From, the first episode, where we actually get to dive deeply into one of these episodes week by week as the episodes release, telling you our predictions, giving you the temperature reading, not watching all these episodes at once. The week after that is the season premiere for The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon Season 2, The Book of Carol Shamlama, as well as the second episode of From. If you want to see the whole calendar of our recording schedules, plus these public airings of these seasons that we're going to be covering, you can head over to our Ko-fi or Patreon. There is a post where we have that information as well as our recording schedules so you can join alongside us in the chat as we record. I've been your host, David Cameo, and I was joined by Cosmom09, Rachael Sherrandy, aka Blazy Gardner, and Bridget, ko-fi.com/punkybrewster. That's PONKYBRUISETER. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week. We have a bunch of things on our plate coming up. Thank God we don't have to watch a bunch of shows to prepare for it.
Goodbye!
See you soon.
I know you can be invested, and I know you can be uninvested, but can you just be vested?
I don't think I've ever laughed so hard while editing an episode ever. I'm sure I've laughed tons of times throughout the 6 years we've been doing Squawking Dead, but never as hard as we should revoke your podcast license, Bridget. Anyway, thank you for watching our season 2 recap of From, a series I'm eager to break down episode by episode coming Sunday, actually. And we've reached the portion of this podcast where we thank you for allowing us to discuss these new series, because without your help, we would not be able to. In the coming weeks, we'll be doing a couple of episodes a week, a couple of recordings, a couple of edits, and a couple of releases, which means we need to employ our editor Veton during those weeks, starting with our Great M and Survivors tier members, of which we only have one, and we can definitely use more help in that department. As I mentioned before, Great M tier members and Survivors tier members have the ability to join us on screen, along with us, via their face, mouth, head, mic, face, body, breaking down these episodes along with us. And just in case you're wondering what the perk with the Great M tier is, our producer tier, it's the ability to access our core channel. That's our behind the scenes channel, containing all our private conversations between the hosts, as well as any meetings that we have regarding our budget, things we want to do, developments, cons that we may want to attend. That is available to you because it's the only place that we actually plan all these things. Well, it's our sole Great M tier member, our benefactor, at RealRyanGM on X and Instagram. Moving on to our Whispers tier members, of which we only have 4 because we had to raise the prices of our tier memberships on both Ko-fi and Patreon. We've got at Judith.Morton on Instagram, Aiden Atkin, who you can reach at ko-fi.com/Aiden Atkin. On Facebook, we have the following 2 ladies, at Sandy.D.Morrison and at Kim.Rowley, the number 1. Thank you again for listening. I've personally been enjoying watching the series. I'm thankful that we can slow down and really hone in on the details of the series, and I'm eager to get to work for you, so put us to work. Tell us how to run things. The only way to do that is to start by following us on Ko-fi and Patreon. That's ko-fi.com/squawkingdead or patreon.com/squawkingdead. When you do, you can attend our recording sessions for free because we don't post our schedules on social media. Take care, everybody. We'll see you real soon, and remember that in the meantime, we are Squawking Dead.